welcome to this Unicourse video. My name is Ashley, and the topic of today's session is leading innovation and change. Now, we're going to focus more on innovation today. The reason being is the last couple of sessions that we have recorded in the playlist has been based around implementing change and managing people through change. So, we are going to focus more on leading innovation. So, this session will introduce you to the concept of innovation and look at the differences between innovation and invention and look at a couple of tools that you can use when creating an innovative culture within the workplace. So let us get started. So, new ideas and innovations have always been important drivers for organisational growth and success. And today, more than ever, in an increasingly fast paced global economy, an organisation's ability to innovate for competitive advantage can mean the difference between its success, its survival, and its extinction. So, it's important to think about, how we can innovate on a regular basis in order to be the best that we can. Breakthrough innovations are more likely to occur um, when market conditions are tough and resources are limited, usually because the organization's being pushed into change. So let's just start by just providing a couple of definitions of innovation. And if you were to research innovation on the net, you will find quite a lot of um, of definitions there. There's one here: to introduce something new, make changes in anything established, um, to introduce, I mean, for me, it's just new ways of working. That's the way I always think about it. Innovation is new ways of working. And there is a difference between invention and innovation. And I think this is important to distinguish quite early on because people can, often get mixed up between the difference between innovation and invention. Invention is defined as the creation of a product or the introduction of a process for the first time. Invention is just the idea for a possible innovation. So, invention solves a concrete problem, um, sometimes with the means of technology, but innovation is what can often make slight changes to it to prepare it for market and sorry for marketing. So innovation comes from the Latin verb innovare. I think that's how I pronounce it anyway. And it means the introduction of new things, ideas, or ways of doing something. So new ways of working is an easy way to think about it. That's the way I think about it. And it differs from improvement or transformation in that the focus is not on doing something you are already doing better, but rather on doing something completely different from what you're already doing. So, consider, when you think of lean, lean thinking or Six Sigma, and it's, it is about minimizing waste. It's about eliminating, um, improving the flow of processes, eliminating time, and minimizing cost through different ways of work. And so that's more about improvements and improvements over time. Let's just give you a couple of examples here. Let me make sure these stats are right. So the light bulb, it is not uncommon for inventors to be unaware of the commercial implications of their invention. So let's think about the light bulb. So the light bulb was implemented by Thomas Edison, and he invented it. He put together 400 patents in its first phase of work, and one of these were for the electrical light bulb. But it wasn't until his second creative phase that he tackles the commercial realization of the most important patents. So innovation came after invention. And that's really really important to think about. If you were to look at the phone, there've been innovations that have led to it being where we are today. And the likes of iPhone, they know to stay ahead of the market, they need to be providing innovations to their device every year when they bring out a new model in order to stay ahead of the game. So the importance, inventions are important, innovations are important, but inventions require a completely new concept. They provide evidence of the credibility of scientific knowledge, so it's something completely new. They require the person, to be inventing them to have really good skills and knowledge in that specific area. Um, you know, they usually have to be completely new to the world. They'll be bringing unexpected results usually, and at the end of the day, inventions should come first. Inventions are a building block for innovation. So just remember that. Um, when you are considering writing any of your assignments, on innovation and change, or on leading innovation and change, or understanding innovation, because there are a range across the ILM framework. Innovation brings an existing concept to market or to service, or turns it into a product for commercial use. Innovations contribute significantly to the growth of a company. So we all know that in order for a company to stay relevant, to stay competitive, that changes need to happen in order to improve the business. So, innovation is always new, but with a changed concept or a pattern, usually. It gives a technical or a competitive advantage, and it demands a variety of skills. And we're gonna touch on that a little bit further on. Okay, but if it's important to understand that if you're not thinking innovatively, um, and considering different ways that you can improve practices, services, products, then you may fall behind. And it's being seen, in a number of industries. And it's important to try and stay ahead of the game. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can stay ahead of the game, and you know, analysing the internal and the external environment consistently, regularly, um, will allow you to be able to see what sort of drivers for change are there, which would, which would need some sort of innovative thinking to improve in that area. So advantages of innovation. Now, there's absolutely loads of advantages for organisations that think innovative, all the time about new ways of working. I know that specifically in Google, they have a department that is just about innovative thinking. It's just about creative thinking and thinking up new ideas. I heard in another quite popular organisation that they allow a certain amount of time every month for everybody in the workplace to think of new ideas for the organisation. Because think about it, if you've got a big, huge organisation, and you might have somebody who's working on the front line, or on the picket line, or anywhere middle management, who might have an idea that could solve a really big problem at the top. But if you don't give them that voice, then how will you ever know? So some other advantages is you might find ways to reduce costs. It might be a way to underpin a new way ahead. So an example could be within our organisation, somebody new came into the company and said, you work in the office is based in the business quarter of Liverpool. Why are you not teaching face to face for some short courses? And although we had thought about it in the future, their their new idea of how to do it, where to do it, when to do it, and the approach on it was a complete new innovation that we hadn't really thought about. So sometimes it's good as well, to consider employing people outside of the organization to think of new ideas. Again, it will allow you to stand out in the market to increase your competitiveness. It could improve your brand recognition if you're seen to be an innovator within your market and one that people, you know, one of the organizations that people in your industry want to follow. It could also, you know, increase your reputation. So for being, somebody who leads ahead, which might allow you to create new partnerships or relationships with different organisations, and it could increase your profitability, and improve your turnover. A failure to understand the benefits of change can mean and it can basically mean that an organisation can fail to make the necessary changes that are needed, really. And one of the biggest challenges organisations face in identifying the potential benefits of an innovation or change is the definition of a readily understood measure of success. So, because it's quite new, how do you know that it's going to be a success? It is risk taken on some instances. It is making that leap. It is sometimes, putting your hands in the bucket and saying, "I think this is going to work." And there is different, methods that you can use to measure risk and to plan for contingencies once a change is implemented, or consider for a moment the benefits of recent innovations within your organization, because I've thought about it and I know that there has been some great innovations within our workplace, um you know in the last year, since I've been here. Really, it's quite an innovative culture that we have here. But think about COVID, and how people have had to work differently and think of new innovative ways of working to get around some of the measures that were put in place. So one of the biggest challenges organisations do face is identifying them the potential benefits of that innovation, and making sure that they know that, okay, if you don't understand what success means right now, let's try and see what you're aiming for. What's the problem or issue, or what do you think that innovation or change is going to solve? So, an example could be a company decides to manage one of its support functions differently by outsourcing that function. Could be like the IT department or something. To quantify the benefit in this case is relatively easy, since a comparison between the cost of in-house service and the cost of outsourced service would reveal like a saving. It's an easily quantifiable benefit, and it is, the way that you can define that is a tangible benefit. So if organisations can see that you can find a return of investment for an implementation of change straight away, if we do this, that, and the other, this is what will come back, and we'll have the return of investment by this time. So we're not going to lose out on anything. That's a tangible, benefit, and that's something that can be seen. But where things become more challenging is where there is a significant payback. So where the benefit of the change will not be seen for a couple of years, or where the benefit is intangible. So an intangible benefit is one that is not easily quantified. So an example could be a company proposes to allow staff more freedom um, to choose their own working hours, so like flexible hours, arguing that staff morale will be improved. Um, finding a measure or finding measures to confirm that the benefit improve morale has it been achieved, as it worked. It can be difficult. You could say throw a couple of employee engagement surveys out before and after, and see whether you can measure it, but it's not really quantifiable because it's an intangible benefit. So just consider that, even if it is an intangible benefit, if you can sort of weigh up can even, when you're thinking about leading innovation and change, you might need to work out a decision making matrix as to which idea might work best. And it, it, it might be good to not just do a cost analysis, but a cost benefit analysis. And if the benefits outweigh the costs, then maybe one idea might be more suitable than the other. So the thing about the benefits, you can also think about the barriers to innovation as well. And there is, there is a lot, and cost is probably the biggest one. People might say, well, what's the point in changing? We haven't really got the money, we haven't got the resources, we haven't really got the people that we need to, drive that change forward. But, without innovation, you're not going to stay ahead of the game. You're not going to stay ahead of the market. You might not even stay online with the market if you're not continuously staying with the times. So yeah, lack of money, and sometimes it might be worth pulling money from one budget and implement it into innovative practice, just to get some get some flow of ideas, to make some movement. Sometimes it's good as well to think about throwing some money into um some innovative sessions, or some brainstorming sessions, or um just trying to get some ideas, but putting some money into it just before you're reviewing your strategy, because you might then analyze the internal and the external environment, maybe using like a SWOT analysis or a pestle. um so a SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. PESTLE stands for political, economical, social, legal, and environmental impacts on the organisation. So if you do that analysis, you might be able to identify areas for improvement where you can then start, implementing innovative practices to be able to, come to some sort of solution using, ideas of people. Organisational barriers, that might mean the organisational structure doesn't suit it, the leadership styles within. It might be more of a bureaucratic style of leadership within the organisation, and ideas will only come from the top and not from anywhere else. That might need to change if that's about a barrier that's getting in the way of innovative thinking, because some people do think more creatively than others. Some people think more, more task focused. Some people think more people focused. Some people are more introverted, and some people are more data. Think more about data and information. So having the right processes to encourage ideas is really, really important. And if you don't have them, that's a barrier. Technology as well, to be able to support innovation, is quite important, but that brings you back to money and cost as well. So have a little think about it. There's obviously a lot more barriers out there. Um, have a think what barriers might be stopping your organisation from creating a culture for innovation. Um, okay, so talking about creating a culture for innovation, fostering an innovation culture, it can be difficult. It can be difficult, and because sometimes the 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 structure of the organization might not lean a hand to it. It might be that as I said, that the leadership styles within the organization, they don't support that style. It might be that it's quite a fast-paced working environment, and there's not really any time for stepping aside and reflecting upon practice to see where ideas might lie. Here's some ideas of how you can foster an innovative culture. One of the main key things is to let the employees know and understand the importance of creative thinking. Let them understand, let everybody in the organisation understand that you will support their ideas. You might not always implement them, but you'll support the creation of ideas and the process around it. It's good to all, and this is not a bad thing, challenging the way staff work. If you were to email somebody and say, They said, I've been doing this and this system is just up the wall with it. What do you think can be done to improve it? That's you supporting um, and supporting people to think for themselves. So I, I always think that it's good practice to allocate time for new ideas to emerge. I mean, most of the time in the meetings that I take part in, the last part will be any other business. How much better would that be if it said, does anybody have any any ideas, any new ideas to improve any practices? Does anybody have um, any problems that they or any issues that some people might be able to open up ideas for improvements on? It would just open up more conversation as well. An idea. Train staff in different innovation techniques, and we're going to touch on some of them in a bit. If leaders understand different techniques to improve, you know, people like the spaces for people to think outside of the box. Um, it would be good if they were trained in that way to ask questions in the right way to increase the flow of ideas. Also, to allow all of the staff to know that just because you're providing an idea, it doesn't mean that their ideas that are wrong. They might not be implemented because once they've sieved out the information about the idea, you thought, well, that's not really going to work for us. Maybe in the future, but maybe not now. But it's important to be able to tolerate mistakes. Mistakes happen. So actively encourage ideas. As I said, one of the ideas I have had in the past is um, instead of any other business, any ideas, any new ideas. Cross fertilize. Now, this sounds a bit strange, but cross fertilize is um, going between departments to find, if anybody's got ideas in different departments as well. That's really, 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 really important because there might be somebody in a different department that's doing something quite similar to what you're doing, but they've found a new way of work and that's easier. And if you're not communicating with each other all the time, it's a shame. It is a shame if if somebody within your organization can make your life easier and your job easier, then it's nice to be able to do that. Good way to do it is broadening people's experiences through short-term job swaps or shadowing in-house, and it gives a bit of a fresh perspective on people's roles. It also encourages people to look at how other business functions work and and consider the role that they play and how important their department is in achieving the overall organisational goals. And then, you know, motivate individuals or teams who come up with ideas by recognising creativity. It might be like through like a reward scheme, for example. And then remember to act on ideas, not all of them, obviously, but creative thinking is only worthwhile if it results in action. So it provides time and resources to develop and implement those ideas that are worth acting upon. Failure to do this not only means that your organisation, might fail to benefit from the innovation, but the flow of ideas might well dry up because people might think, well, what is the point? So just have a little, have a think about that. Um, the innovation funnel. So if you're working on, I think it's the level 5 unit on innovation and change, it does ask about the innovation funnel. Now, when you research the innovation funnel, because they are like adapted to the organizations, this is DTI's organization innovation funnel. You can adapt this and change it as you like, you know, um, and think that you know it's it, it's a great way to be able to get loads of ideas and then structuring a process through the flow of ideas to get to the chosen solution that can be implemented. It provides structure and discipline and facilitates the innovation process. It can allow faster development of innovation that can drive growth. It defines and tracks innovations according to predetermined criteria that you can measure against, and it provides like subsections or gates to control the innovation resources. The innovation resource decisions. So it allows a passage of projects more likely to succeed by killing those more likely to fail as early as possible. So it's a guide, and it is a guide. Um, so let's just talk about it. So, firstly, the mouth of the funnel. The first steps or phase aims to gather as many ideas as possible, and it doesn't matter if that idea, you might think it's a silly idea. The more ideas the organisation can come up with, the larger the number of solutions, and the better the quality. So, gathering information is vital, and it can be relatively easy. As again, using a couple of different analytical tools to study the internal functions, the external environment, the SWOT, the PESTEL. Um, but information can be found, at different areas with researcher competitors, partners, institutes, studies, reports. Um, there's all different ways. The market research also yields some, valuable information. Sometimes it might be required to take a bit of time to really consider um, where these ideas where these ideas can be found. So yeah, it to efficiently go through this phase of the innovation funnel, a clear perspective on the objectives must have been established beforehand. So you can't just say, right, come on, let's go for a meeting and we are just going to come up with loads of ideas. It's got to be in relation to something, obviously. So you need to understand the possibilities and have the intention to implement and actualize ideas. The ideas come from both they can come from anybody really in the organization. You might want to go from all different departments. It might be that, you've done an external analysis and found that there's um, a political um, or the legislation that's going to be implemented next month and you don't really know what to do about it. Let's all come in, let's all have a little look at some ideas. Or you might find that a new competitor's entered the market and it's got a really low price. So it might be everyone's coming in, let's see what we can do about it. It might be that you've considered putting a new um, creating a new product, and it might be, or you want to enhance an already a current product, and it might be that you just want a couple of ideas on how you can enhance that. So let's just talk about the different stages. We're focused on the opening part of the funnel, and that's the concept. The focus is on generating ideas and concepts and assessing them against a strategic fit and a market opportunity, organisational impact, and even the chances of success to decide whether um, it's worth exploring further at this point. Then the feasibility, it's about looking what projects are selected for further development based on an evaluation of the different ideas, of the market acceptability, the investment, the risk to rewards, the value and effect, um, and the availability of the required resources. You might have the best idea in the world, but if you haven't got maybe in relation to technology, but if you haven't got the right person to actually be able to implement that idea, then it might be something that might have to sit in the back burner until you can actually find somebody to do that. Then we have development, so market launch. This could be, um, or sorry, it could be developing something for market launch, and it depends on the satisfactory product or service, and you might want to, do as we said before, test the product, get some feedback on the service, and just a little test run or something. to be able to evaluate it, that idea maybe a little bit more, to reflect upon it, to see whether it is going to have an impact. And sometimes it is good practice just to try something a little bit before you implement it fully. So executing the innovation business plan is what, sorry, implementation is all about. And there is the last video that I did actually on implementing change focuses on all about planning and implementing the change effectively. So have a little run through that. But a clear implementation plan will make everybody's life easy. It will, even you might want to include a communication plan included in that. It might even mean that in order for you to implement something, you have to put a proposal forward first. That proposal might need to be approved by the CEO from the finance department. Stop. Or it might just be that, you might want to need your shareholders to be aware of the implementation plan, and what innovation is going to be implemented and at what time. And, you know, so let's have a little look now at the innovation matrix. So there's different types of change, there's different types of innovations. And it is quite closely linked, and it has got some similarities to change. For example, radical change in an organization is usually quite a big change that needs quite a big plan and everyone to be ready and prepared for it. Some examples with innovation and technology and the impact on the market is it is quite high in relation to technology, and it is quite low in relation to the impact in the market. So technological breakthroughs that can transform industries. And then you've got disruptive, so technology or new business model that disrupts existing markets. So that might be when the first phone came out with a camera on, for example. Not only did it completely disrupt the you know the phone industry, but it completely disrupted the camera industry as well. So it had a double whammy there. Um, but somebody has just thought of a new innovation for their phones, and and merging two different products and ideas together. It's a great idea. So sustaining is, it's high impact and low technology newness, and that's a significant improvement on a product that aims to sustain the position in an existing market. So it's something that you sort of have to do to stay level and competitiveness, but it's nothing that's going to really make you stand out as an innovator in industry. And then incremental is more gradual, continuous improvements. And, this can be sometimes seen um, as just small transitional changes to make small improvements. Like an example could be when we do these videos, every time we watch them through, when we do a review every couple of months, we might change the formatting slightly, or add brands into them, or change the branding or the sound on them. Just little things that we think is improving as we go. But that's low on the scale of the innovation matrix. So have a little think about any you know innovative changes that have happened in your organization, and maybe try and dot them along on this matrix. It's an idea for your assignment as well when you're thinking of different ideas. So I want to talk a little bit about different models and techniques to managing innovation in the workplace. So McKinney, he was really, really great in his time, and he stated that the four steps to successfully managing the stages of innovation in the workplace was firstly to connect by finding pockets of people with the right mindsets for innovation, and then setting boundaries and engaging, so defining role of network and meeting organizational strategic goals, establishing um, clear expectations and defining them straight away, and planning a way to maintain trust throughout, and then support and govern. So this is about determining the roles of face-to-face meetings, defining additional support as necessary. So that might be uh, administrative help, facilitators, and defining key knowledge and information inputs both internally and externally to network. So really, really key part of the process. And then manage and track is about defining how members will be recognised for their contributions, establishing performance management criteria based on both the individual and the team successes. And, it's about defining timing for assessment, review, um, and, you know, and considering a planned out process to facilitate, you know, the innovation as well. So if you can try and consider that, you will be helping to foster an innovative culture within the workplace. Another one that I think is useful and I've used before is the six thinking hats. There are a couple of different methods. Even like brainstorming is just a great way to think up ideas. And sometimes it might be where, if you're trying to find a solution, brainstorming, you can even link that to um, to voting for ideas as well. There's different methods of brainstorming. It's not just everyone saying, "Oh, I've got this idea, I've got this idea, I've got this idea." It can be rallied down into you may be voting for which one you think is the best, and then the least one gets thrown away. Which one you think's the best, the least one gets thrown away. It's quite a good way to keep the ideas equal. But if you were to think about it from the innovation funnel point of view, it's good to be able to identify all of them initially, to be able to then funnel them out or go back to them if you want to. So the six thinking hat was developed by Edward de Bono, and it is quite a powerful technique, and it can help to develop ideas and make decisions by examining ideas from different perspectives. It pushes you to move outside of your normal way of thinking, and helps you to think critically and understand the full complexity of a decision, and spot issues and opportunities which um, you might not see otherwise. If you were to look at these different hats, there are only imaginary hats. You don't have to wear a hat. I mean, I've done this exercise before, and we've all had a specific colour pen. So, somebody has a black pen, somebody has a red pen, somebody has a green pen, and it's just understood that each one you're thinking in a different way. And obviously it's not always easy to do that. Some people are natural problem solvers, some people are natural they fall into different categories automatically, so it can be hard for them to think, oh well, which hat am I wearing? Because it is sometimes good practice to be able to swap the hats over and think in a different way. So, like, for an example, the white hat, it focuses on the data that's available, looks at the information that you have and see what you can learn from it, looks for the gaps in knowledge and either tries to fill them or take account of them. The red hat um, is more about looking at the decision using intuition, gut reaction, and usually like an emotional response. And some people just automatically will fall into that. But if you give people to say, do you think that's going to be a good idea? Well, yeah. Some people will go and in the mind are thinking, but it could be, it might not be, and they might be analysing it. It's just a gut reaction. The black hat looks at things pessimistically, cautiously, defensively, and tries to see why ideas and approaches might not work. So we all know that person that is, in the office that's like, there's no way that's gonna work. There's no way, but it can sometimes be hard to think in that way if you are quite an optimist. So black hat thinking helps you to make your plans tougher and more resilient and to really think through the risks as well. So yeah, it can be difficult for some people, but if you are thinking about it in that way, the yellow hat on the other side is the optimistic viewpoint that helps you to see the benefits of the decision and the value in it, and how it can be a success really. The green hat stands for creativity, and this is where you might want to, the person wearing this hat might want to think of loads of crazy and just outside the box ideas, and throw them out there in order to be able to narrow them down. The blue hat stands for process control, and this is the hat worn by people who are chairing the meetings. Now, not always does this person need to wear a hat. They can be a facilitator of the group as well. You can have a facilitator in the meeting while this process is happening. But when running into difficulties because ideas are running dry, or they're going off tangent in another direction, they may direct the activity um, into a green hat thinking. So they might move back around, or they might even switch the hats around in order to give other people ideas of looking at the issue or the problem or the the thing from a different, fresh pair of eyes. You can use six thinking hats in a group or on your own. I mean, I've never seen it used on your own, but you can see how it could work. If you were to put green hat and, just write down, loads of ideas, and then you were to say, red hat, let's have a little look which one I think might work best. Let's put them in a priority list. And then you could say, well, let's look at the white hat and see what data and information's available that can give me some support for these. And give me an optimistic view to them. But then let's put on the black hat and think, okay, well, what risks are available? So you can actually do it yourself, but I've seen this used really, really well in action learning, and it's a great way for people to become more self-aware, but also have respect for other people's perspectives as well. So because people do think differently, it's not always easy just to recategorize the way that you think. So um finally, I just want to touch on there are other tools and techniques out there available. If you look at the information pack and the resources on Moodle, you'll find a range of other tools and techniques that can be used. And please, please, please look at my implement and change, um, because that will help if you are going to be implementing the innovative idea that you've thought of. So the risks of not implementing, of not changing, of not innovating, of not creating, or fostering an innovative culture could be that, you risk going out of business is the worst case scenario, but you could end up with reduced margins or profits due to competitors just being ahead of you, losing market share to competitors because you're not willing to adapt and change to stay ahead of the game. And it might be that your productivity, your efficiency, your effectiveness, your team morale might be all impacted due to you not thinking of new ways of working to improve practices internally, or focusing on the external factors that will affect the organisation and reacting to them. So yeah, fostering an innovative culture is a great way to bring the team together, to have everyone working towards the same vision, to have everyone walking down the same road. and letting people grow and letting people think for themselves and provide solutions and ideas to problems that you may not know that they are capable of solving is a great way to lead, really. So, yeah, that concludes my video today on innovation. If you would like any further information on this topic, please contact me. I have mountains of research and resources on innovation and on change. But thank you for watching today, and I hope you tune in again soon. Bye.